Hello everyone, I am the Canadian Gaming Penguin. As some of you may know, this morning at roughly 4 AM PDT, there was a letter from the producer live streamed on Twitch, YouTube, etc. For those that don't know what this is, and even for those that do know, the letter from the producer live is essentially announcements and other basic details for future patches or content coming to Final Fantasy XIV. This is presented via director and producer of Final Fantasy XIV, Naoki Yoshida. I'm going to go through some of the things that we learned as best as I can anyways, as this was presented in Japanese and I know very little Japanese. Thus I'm going to be primarily focusing on the slides that we saw with English text and some other things that are the word on the street. We will know more details likely on Monday or on Tuesday with the upcoming patch, that is October 13th, 2020. Anyways, let's get right into it. Actually, if you haven't already figured it out, I wasn't smart enough to take screenshots of any of the slides that were in the live stream, and since the live stream was almost 4 hours long, I don't really want to go back into them to find them via the video on demand. Lazy penguin. Shame. You will be able to see these likely on Monday, posted on the Lodestone. I may have another video about the live letter on Monday if there is more details available with the posting of the English translation and details, etc. That obviously assumes it would be available on Monday. Anyways, let's get to it. The patch that is coming to us on Tuesday, October 13th, 2020 will include the Bosgen Southern Front. For anyone who is new, this likely won't mean much to you right now, as this is content for level 71 and higher. But if you are familiar with the relic weapons at this point, then this is related to relic weapons at those levels. And that's about as much as I'm going to get into without giving spoilers. Anyways. So in today's live letter, we didn't really learn anything new based on what I saw and what I've heard in regards to the Bosgen Southern Front. Most of what was talked about in this live letter was also talked about in the 5.3 live letter. That said, what was gone over today was mostly reiterating how Bosgen Southern Front will work and also clarifying some things. To summarize, the Bosgen Southern Front is a new large-scale encounter where you can join together with 72 players and assist the Bosgen resistance in an effort to rout out the 4th Imperial Legion. There is a story mode, if you will, of this, or you can take on extra challenges. Effectively, it will be up to you whether or not you want a simple route or a harder route. We will likely know more details of what this means once we can actually get into doing this ourselves. The objectives in the Bosgen Southern Front is to battle the 4th Imperial Legion to raise your medal, which is done by joining special encounters. These special encounters can be skirmishes or critical engagements. Increasing your medal will also increase your resistance rank once enough medal is acquired. The live letter then once again restated what the critical engagements are and how it will work when engaging in them. I'm not going to go into details in this video about this. In relation to the Southern Bosgen Front aspect, we will be getting an update to our resistant weapons. That is, we will be able to start the process of augmenting our resistance weapons after we have gained access to the Bosgen Southern Front. We will be able to obtain the items in or outside of the Bosgen Southern Front. I'm personally tossing between the two. I sort of want to experience a longer grind to a relic weapon. This is something that would be new to me in the game, because I haven't done any. I probably won't do that for all the relic weapons once I get the rest of my jobs to level 71-ish. The next bit of this video will contain spoilers, so if you have not yet completed the 5.3 Shadowbringers main scenario quest, it is probably best to skip to the job adjustments portion of the video. Ooh, the title already has me thinking of a number of different possibilities of what it could mean. The title. Oh, right, I guess I should probably share that. The title for patch 5.4 is Futures Rewritten. As we know in the end of main scenario quest, which concludes the Shadowbringers story, we were successful in stopping the Ascians from causing the first to be completely enveloped in light and thus preventing the calamity that would occur on the source, which included our own deaths. We've also succeeded in bringing the Scions back to the source, even recruiting a certain cat-eared friend. and have thus entered in a interesting situation. Does this mean we'll have access to the Crystal Tower to use to travel through time to other worlds? Is Y'shtolar going to succeed in finding a way to traverse back to the first? So many questions. Thus, that brings me to this. We will have new main scenario quests in patch 5.4, and the only hint to that we saw was a picture of the Warrior of Light, or Warrior of Darkness, whichever title you prefer, conversing with Sir Emmerich, Lucia, and a Vanu in Ishgard. What that means? Who knows? We will also be getting a new instance duty named Matoya's Relict, or Relict, English. This will be trust compatible, which I'm happy about. With this announcement, we were also shown some concept art of an area with books, including books that form stairs. One of my favorite features of this image is what looks to be a furnace in the shape of a witch's hat. Of course, I can't show you because of my own laziness. This is regards to the new dungeon. You will see on Monday, probably. Sorry about that. Or you could watch the live stream video on demand too. We also got news that with 5.4, we will have new Chronicles of a New Era quests, referring to the Sorrow of Werlet. I'm a bit lost with this, as I'm not quite there in that stuff. So I can't really provide much more information than that. We will also have new Trials and Emerald Weapon Battle, which is what they are temporarily calling it, as the name of both the normal and extreme versions have not been decided yet, most likely because they'd be spoilers. There will also be new raid dungeons related to the Eden story, both a normal and a savage version titled Eden's Promise, and Eden's Promise Savage, naturally. In order to do this new raid, you will need to complete the 5.3 main scenario quest, but not the 5.4 main scenario quest. And that is it for spoiler-esque stuff. Alrighty, and for those who skipped the spoilers bit, welcome back. Patch 5.4 is expected to be released in early December 2020. Previously announced there would be some job adjustments, particularly with Monk and the Greased Lightning, in that they will be working on improving how the Greased Lightning functions, while preventing the job from losing the busy feeling. This will be an interesting change in my opinion, because if they end up changing Greased Lightning to be more like Huton for Ninja, which I think would work well, they would also need to adjust skills that work with Greased Lightning's effect, etc. I think this will most likely affect higher level monks currently, though the Greased Lightning change overall would be great throughout all levels. I don't know that they're adjusting any other jobs in player versus environment, but it was also stated that there will be PvP adjustments as well, and I'm not sure of which jobs that would involve. I personally have not yet tried PvP, so I didn't pay attention to what they had previously said in the 5.3 live letter, etc., so I can't go further into that. Normally in the part 2 of the live letter they go into more details about this type of changes, and I expect that the live letter part 2 would be in sometime late November, roughly. That's my guess anyway. Surprisingly, Blue Mage is also getting an update. In 5.4, we can expect a level cap increase from level 60 to level 70. We can also expect new spells, Blue Mage exclusive gear, and new duties for the Blue Mage log. I don't know about anyone else, but my Blue Mage is nowhere near ready for that content, as my Blue Mage is not even level 30 yet. I guess I should get working on that. Anyways, moving on. Also in patch 5.4, we will be able to upgrade our resistant weapons further. Additionally, we'll have access to a Delubrum Rigine, as I butcher the name. With this, I don't know how this works because most of that was in Japanese, but from what I do know of the screenshots, this will be some sort of duty or instant type of thing, where we will have a normal mode with 24 players with no role requirements for matching. We will also have a savage mode with 48 players, and players must form parties before entering. I'm assuming that means just parties of 8 and not actually 48 players, which would be 6 parties of 8, which would be a little crazy. We have new crafting and gathering updates to look forward to in patch 5.4. Woohoo! I am excited for some of these changes. For crafting, there will be adjustments to actions that are not frequently used. There will also be conditions added for expert recipes, and these new conditions will not apply to any recipes added prior to patch 5.4. Based on what I've heard, essentially this is adding more complexity back into crafting after having revamped it, however many patches ago that was. With gathering, we can expect a few more changes than this. To start, the collectible and ethereal reduction systems have been revamped. And for example, the collectible gear will be removed, and the itemware will be removed. Thus, the focus will be on gathering attempts and collectability rating. Additionally, we will have a new UI appearance for gathering, and again, I can't show you the picture. I like this new look. It's sleek and makes focusing on the important areas easier. In relation to this change, gathering and perception ratings will have a greater effect on collectability. There will also be adjustments made to items obtained from ethereal reduction based on their collectability. What that exactly entails, I have no idea. Now, this next bit is what I'm really happy about. We will now, as of patch 5.4, be able to see the elevation of the gathering points. Yaha! I am super happy about this. It has been frustrating at times to find locations for gathering, especially when flying is needed for some gathering points, and trying to find those areas, or even with the swimming ones, and I'll leave it at that there. One other change for gathering is for fishers. Fish eyes will be adjusted so that it will no longer be required to catch fish. Instead, it will allow players to ignore the time requirement for catching fish, if I'm understanding this correctly. I'm not familiar with this aspect of fishing, so unfortunately I can't elaborate any further than that. As some of you may know, we have been working on our crafting and gathering contributions for the Ishgardian restoration. Currently, we are in Phase 3 of the restoration process. In patch 5.4, the fourth and final phase of the Ishgardian restoration will begin. In relation to this final phase, during a certain time period, unbeknownst to us currently, a monument will be constructed in the firmament based on the crafting class that contributes the most during that time period, based on your server. This will be very interesting to see on each server, to see just which crafting class ends up winning that. Along with the patch 5.4 Ishgardian Restoration update, this will reopen the Sky Builder rankings. We will have new items that will count towards our seasonal scores. The top ranking crafters and gatherers will receive the same title as before, but will have new achievements, so you don't really have to fight for the top positions for different titles, as they're all going to be the same. With this being the final restoration phase, this will be the last ranking. So if you want the title, then that is when you're going to have to really go for it. Good luck. I won't be one of the ones competing for that. Other updates that will be coming with 5.4 is an update to the Sky Steel tools, Unreal Trials, treasure hunts, and ocean fishing. Just to elaborate on the ocean fishing, we will be getting new routes, and new objectives will be added, which will add bonus points to our score. Additionally, there will be a penalty for leaving an ocean fishing expedition and then re-embarking on a new expedition. Apparently there's been an issue with players leaving after the first area when they don't see the bonus in that first portion. I'll reserve my personal opinion on that, but I do think that this is a good change, which may lead you to what I think about this. Another update is to the Perform for Bard. New violin instruments will be added. I'm looking forward to listening to the performances that will occur. I'm not good enough to play. The Triple Triad and Doman Mahjong will have some updates as well. Triple Triad will have new rules and a UI revamped for ease of play. Additionally, there will be new rules and tournaments added where we will be able to battle opponents with a deck of randomly chosen cards. With this new rule set, there will be tournaments periodically held. Doman Mahjong will have Ton Pusen. I probably butchered that pronunciation. Ton Pusen basically means quick match, thus there will be a quick match option for queuing for matches. Additionally, the UI will be adjusted. For example, the Dora indicator can be changed to show the tile before Dora instead. Also the discard pile Also the discard pile will indicate whether or not a tile is Sumokuri, that is discarded immediately after it was drawn or not, and that's taken from the slides that we saw during the live stream. And I really need to sit down and play Mahjong again at the Gold Saucer at some point. Some quality of life changes that will be coming is a new system to affix materia, which will be a time saver for a lot of people. Based on what I understand, this feature will allow an almost instantaneous melding of materia in one go, rather than having to do it one by one yourself. For example, if you wanted to affix 5 materia, you make your selection of which materia, and then the system will instantaneously consume as many materia of that type until it succeeds. Another quality of life change is that we will be able to link our quests in the chat, thus helping players when they're stuck on something will be a lot easier, or even just sharing where you're at in the story. This is a super good update. For those that are worried about the spoilers that may occur, you may be happy to know that if you have not completed a quest yet, it will appear as question marks in the chat, thus there is no spoilers. Woot! There was a portion of the live letter that discussed the PlayStation 5, in that the PlayStation 4 version of Final Fantasy XIV will be able to be played on a PS5. PS4 Pro settings will be available in the system configuration. Also, PS4 users to PS5 will be able to enjoy the faster load times due to how the PS5 works with an SSD. There was no announcement at this time of a PS5 version of Final Fantasy XIV. In today's live letter, there was a guest who is a lead UI designer, Kei Odagiri, whose name I probably butchered. Sorry. Odagiri-san and Yoshida-san discussed various things, including a new Explorer mode that will be introduced. They are currently having bug issues with it, so it's not determined when this will be added, but hopefully it'll be ready by patch 5.4. So what is the Explorer mode? The Explorer mode will allow players to freely explore dungeons they've previously completed, without enemies appearing or obstacles preventing them from moving around. Currently, only the 5.x dungeons will be able to do this, but they are looking to expand this further to older dungeons. I am super excited for this. I've lamented to myself that the developers spend so much time working on the dungeons, and the players never really get to explore in them on their own, etc. And that's something that I've wished I could do without having to clear out all the monsters first. And of course, if you're in higher level dungeons, you can't do that on your own. With this feature, we will also be able to use mounts, minions, fashion accessories like umbrellas, and even place striking dummies inside these dungeons while in Explorer mode. This means if we wanted to take pictures in the group pose with our mount or minion, or have whatever fashion accessory etc. in a dungeon, we will be able to do so. Even further, we will have access to the different limit breaks, where we will be able to explore and see what they look like, etc. Did I mention I'm super excited? Unfortunately, as I said, they are experiencing some bugs with this feature right now, so they aren't completely sure, from what I understand, when this feature will be available. I can say that once it's available, I know what I'll be doing: exploring dungeons. From what I understand, the option to go on a Explore mode excursion to XYZ dungeon will be under the same menu options for Unsync, etc. There is a new, and should be familiar to those who have played older Final Fantasy games, UI theme that will be added to the game. We will have the classic Final Fantasy UI theme. So that nice bluey colored theme. It will be interesting to see that in person once I can try that out for myself, but for those classic Final Fantasy fans out there, you will likely like the look of this. That is a tongue twister in itself. Of course, I can't show you the pictures because, yeah. And of course, I like it because I'm biased towards anything that's blue, and of course, it's the older style of Final Fantasy menus. Even though I do like this newer look as well, but, you know. as expected, the Fan Festival for Europe that was to be held in February 2021 in London has been cancelled. This does not come to a surprise to me, and I expect it does not come to a surprise to many of you. To recap, the North American Fan Fest that was to take place in November and the Fan Festival that was to take place in Japan in December have also been cancelled. This said, Square Enix is going to be hosting an event in February 2021 to announce new information, but they alluded to what type of information. Some speculation is that it would be for the next expansion for the game. With this event in February 2021, they will be having a 14-hour broadcast that same day. That is a long broadcast. This will probably include panels, guests, etc., and talking about whatever it is that they'll be talking about. One final tidbit of information that we got was that Square Enix is considering shifting to a digital fan festival. This possible digital fan festival would take place in May, and it would be global and would take place over 2 days in a digital form online. Thus, there is at least the chance that players from around the globe will be able to digitally join together to participate in a fan festival. I'm personally hoping that they are able to have a digital fan festival in some way, and that at least some aspect of it is free, but I would understand if the free aspect isn't possible. A new feature that is coming to the Lodestone is a community finder. This feature will allow players to recruit and find in-game communities. There is also going to be a campaign from October 13th until October 27th. Essentially, if your free company posts a listing on the community finder during the campaign, your free company will receive in-game items to share with members. From what I understand, this will be fireworks and possibly other items. I'm actually looking forward to this, or at least to see how it works. During the live letter, it was also shared that Final Fantasy XIV has been nominated in 3 categories for the Golden Joystick Awards. These categories are Still Playing Award, Best Game Expansion, and Best Gaming Community. I've personally already visited the page, as I think I saw this announced on one of the social media platforms, or on the Lodestone, I forget which. Needless to say, if any of these are awarded, that would be awesome. Even just the nominations are awesome. And that is basically the live letter. Obviously significantly shorter than the actual live letter, which was around 4 hours. There were a few additional things, such as a music video performance near the beginning of the live letter, and I mentioned towards the end of new merchandise available on the Square Enix store for the game, such as the giant fat cat cushion, which looks awesome, but is way out of my price range. There is also a new Final Fantasy print collection, which is a tentative name. The prints that they showed look awesome, but are also way out of my price range. Anyway, that is it for this video. What are you most looking forward to with the upcoming patches? Leave a comment down below. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching!